हम लोग फर्स्ट सेशन स्टार्ट करने वाले हैं अपॉर्चुनिटी पे। जैसे कि मैंने अभी पहले ही डिस्कस किया था कि जब ये लॉ इतना छोटा सा है तो अपॉर्चुनिटी पे इतना बड़ा डिस्कशन कैसे, और इतने बड़े बड़े लोग कैसे, पास्ट प्रेसिडेंट, ICSI, जनरल काउंसिल्स, प्रैक्टिसिंग कंपनी सेक्रेटरीज, क्या ज़रूरत है ऐसी। लेकिन मुझे पूरा यकीन है कि जब ये पैनल डिस्कशन ख़त्म होगा आप सबको पता लगेगा कि इसमें कितना स्कोप है, और सारी चीज़ों का है। जैसे मोटो हमारा है लर्न, सर्व, एम्पावर एंड अर्न, वो सब कुछ मिलने वाला है इसके बाद से। मेरा पहला क्वेश्चन है परवेश क्षेत्रपाल सर से। आपने एज ए जनरल काउंसिल बहुत सारी कंपनी में लीड किया है। आई एम सॉरी, लॉजिस्टिकली हम लोग के लिए भी पहला प्रोग्राम है तो थोड़ी दिक्कत हो रही है। So sir, you have served as a general counsel in various leading companies, and you are my boss also sometime in Future Group, and I worked together. तब से मैं आपके टच में हूँ और आपकी blessing तब से मेरे साथ में है। So we wish to know that what are the opportunity available for our members including all the professionals under the organized sector and under unorganized sectors, because these are open for the both sector and unorganized and organized sectors.
Yeah, thanks, Avnish. First, let me acknowledge that we worked together in Future Group, and I learned a lot from you at that time. So that was good working with you. And so first of all, before I answer the question, first of all, let me congratulate Team Pink and Blue. Though I can see the color of bouquets are also pink and blue, so good color combination. And let me congratulate Team Pink and Blue, especially Avnish and Ritu, who have made this institution. In fact, it's not easy to working for the society, and even the working for the society and having the institution in place is a tremendous job. So let me acknowledge and congratulate both of you on this. And yes, coming on this point on POSH, Avnish, in fact, if we discuss about POSH, prevention of sexual harassment at workplace, so we have discussed in past 1 hour, and various speakers have given their thoughts, dignitaries have given their thoughts. So POSH is 10 pages, 12 pages act, and rules we have generally see the rules of other acts, but a small 2, 3, 5 pages rules for this act. So it's a creating of awareness in the society, which is missing in the system. Like from last couple of years, when we discuss about the Vishakha guidelines, Tamri Devi case, and that was happened in 20 years, more than 20 years back story, and this act came into system in 2013. And even after 2013, we are 9 years to 10 years after that, the implementation of this act is not so great which it should be into the system. What is the reason? Reason may be that the man-dominating society doesn't want that this act should come into place and women should be empowered. That may be one. Or we may say that even the women are not coming forward and not getting their rights, availing their rights in what they have under the Constitution of the India. So even I've seen few pictures on the YouTube when this act was passed in Parliament. So it was not very easy to get this act passed in the Parliament. It was passed in very hue and cry at that time. So there is something required, and that can be fulfilled by professionals like us only. So we professionals should be available in the system, who should create the awareness of this act. That is the first and the major role of professionals like us. We, as Ritu told, that we should not only think that we are earning something from the system, but opportunity is available with us to create that awareness in the system. One, giving back to the society should be our motto. Like most of us are all settled professional or going to be settled in our profession, having the professional degree with us. Certainly we will earn good in our system, but giving back to the society should be our motto. That should be the first step to think that what opportunities are available for us in the organized or the unorganized sector. So this act is applicable to the organized as well as unorganized sector. So when you are creating the awareness, then you have to think from the implementation to prohibition to redressal of this act. There are various roles which one profession has to play. Implementation, you are there to help the organization to frame their policies. That is one. You are there to help them as a consultant or being an in-house counsel to create that environment, dignified environment for the women in that place. So that is the motto of this act, and you should create that environment in the system too. Third, you can be member of the POSH committee, and always I say that in the system when the act says that the internal committee should have 4 members that should be presided by a woman, 2 members, one should be legal person. So I always suggest to the organization that that legal person should be not only lawyers in the company, but if possible, company secretary and lawyer in the company. But preferably company secretary in that company, because company secretary is the person who has the vast knowledge on governance, who has the vast knowledge on legal aspect, who knows that how to implement the things in system, and who is very well connected with the board. So you can be the part of that committee. That is another aspect you can have in the system. And yes, next, when there is a redressal, and you can play a role to resolve those issues, starting from conciliation hearing in the system to finally redress those things. If you are a lady member, certainly you can give that confidence to the victim that yes, you are available in the system and can help that victim and provide all support which is required. So Avnish, if you'll ask from me to conclude this, that vast opportunity available for profession like us from the start to end of the implementation to redressal of any complaints and the act. And I understand that profession like us, company secretary and legal profession, are the best person to deal with this subject in the organization.
Thank you so much, sir. We understand that we have an enormous opportunity at the both angles, like as a IC member and the local complaint committee members, and as committee members, we can become like in the block level also, district level, block levels, or sub-blocks, sub-divisions. So ये बहुत ही वास्ट जगह है जहाँ पे कि हमारी इंगेजमेंट हो सकती है एज ए प्रोफेशनल्स. सो थैंक यू सो मच सर. सो थैंक यू रंजीत सर एंड रंजीत भाई, आई कैन से हम लोगों ने साथ ही पढ़ाई करी थी और इतनी ऊंचाई तक आप गए, इसके लिए बहुत बहुत कॉन्ग्रेचुलेसन. इसलिए आपको जब आज हमने यहाँ बुलाया है और आपने एक्सेप्ट किया है आने का, तो आपको हम ऐसे नहीं छोड़ेंगे. सवाल तो ICSI की तरफ से ही पूछेंगे आपसे. व्हाट आर द विजन ऑफ ICSI रिगार्डिंग द POSH एक्ट फॉर द इन रिलेशन टू द स्टूडेंट्स एंड मेंबर्स, एंड अकॉर्डिंगली व्हाट आर द अपॉर्चुनिटी अवेलेबल अंडर द POSH एक्ट?
Thank you, Avnish. And first of all, congratulations to you, your entire team, particularly you and Ritu, for taking this initiative and making it so, arranging it so brilliantly. In fact, third conclave, and I can see a lot of known faces here. And of course, as Shonal has mentioned, that beyond the gender, all the male and female, all are present and representing here. So big compliments to Pink and Blue and entire team for organizing this event. Coming back to your question, and in fact I thought that you will ask some different question, but here also you are asking about what ICSI see regarding this POSH Act. We have taken it very seriously, and as lockdown has become blessing in disguise for everyone, it has become blessing in disguise for ICSI also. And before that, our certification courses, our online platform was not picking up. Although in the year 2017, we have done series of webinars, but takers were very few. We have done same effort, same platform, same technology, everything was same, but takers were not there. But when lockdown came, the attendance which was around 3,000 to 5,000, it has become even one point of time 67,000, 80,000 also. So we have started with the certification courses, and one of the courses is this POSH law also. And it is going very well. We trying to educate each and every student through the syllabus and curriculum also. And the members who have already passed out but may not have the exposure of this law, at least we should create awareness at the first go. And thereafter, after awareness, let's make some trainers also, let's make some good professionals also, members of the, train the members as a committee members also, so that they should be able to come and perform. And I must say that you are also complementing this particular effort by your forum, by your organization, because I can see most of them are company secretaries. So, joining hand together, we are working, and this awareness program, at least, that each and every member of ICSI, each and every student of ICSI should be aware that what POSH law is, what are the rights and remedy available under it, and how we should empower the women and how we should make the working place better and better in times to come.
थैंक यू सो मच. सो ICSI भी काम कर रही है, हम लोग भी उसमें बस सहयोग कर रहे हैं और पर्पस सबका एक ही है, और ऐसे बहुत सारी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन काम कर रही है, बट लेकिन ICSI काम कर रही है, ये सब हम सब के लिए बहुत प्राउड की बात है. और बहुत सारे ट्रेनिंग कोर्स भी चल रहे हैं और डिटेल ट्रेनिंग कोर्स है वहाँ भी. सो नेक्स्ट मैं अब के सर से बात करना चाहूँगा, जो 3 डिकेड से प्रैक्टिसिंग कंपनी सेक्रेटरी हैं और मेरे बड़े भाई भी हैं. So sir, company secretary, whether in employment or practice, need to comment upon the compliance status of the POSH provision when we file the disclosure in the reports of the board of directors. So the PCS needs to certify the compliance in secretarial audit reports. So please give some insights that how can the benefit of this scenario can guide the management for the effective implementation of this law. क्योंकि वहीं से जनरेट होना है. और जी सर.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Anish. Really, it's a great opportunity. First of all, again, I would also like to just thanks and congratulate you for these wonderful efforts and really to giving the respect and empowerment to the women. And this is also an opportunity for me because right now, nowadays I am already out of the touch with my friends because most of time I am just spending in the rural areas. And friends, I am also doing the more or less same kind of things in the rural areas because everything is being managed and planned for our urban areas. We are talking about the sexual harassment at working place. I'm just diverting for 1 hour, 2 minutes to this area. Friends, but in the rural areas when we are going, even they don't know what is it. So right now, this is I wish to just convey my heartiest thanks to Mr. Anish and Ms. Ritu, who have given me opportunity to just meet my friends, dynamic POSH trainers, and number of my friends to whom I have not met almost years. So far your question is concerned. Now I'm coming to your question. Friends, because secretarial audit report you are talking about whether we have to include the compliance provision of this POSH enactment in our secretarial audit report because our secretarial audit report has already been defined in a form MR3. So from that angle, if you will see what are the law to be covered, I think this question was very, very appropriate for our learned friend Mr. Ranjit Pandey, who is a past president, vibrant current council member. So how to incorporate these kind of provisions so that really the efforts which ICSA is making to ignite this process of women respect through this POSH enactment, how to imbue the same in the secretarial audit report under the provision of section which was being issued and which is being issued under section 204 of the Companies Act. But so far, it is more or less optional. There is no uniform practice. But yes, being a practicing community, working since a long in this area, we try to just cover this, try to ignite and aware the management. Yes, this is a very, very crucial area. You have to also cover this, and to the extent law permits, be covered in our secretarial audit report also. So it's a great opportunity for us to just cover and empower through this secretarial audit report also.
थैंक यू सो मच सर। तो इसमें जो सबसे बड़ी बात है वो हमारी एम्पावरमेंट की है और हमारी विलिंगनेस की है, क्योंकि एक कंपनी सेक्रेटरी ही ऐसा प्रोफेशन है जो कि सर्टिफाई करता है कि पॉश की कंप्लायंस हो रही है या नहीं हो रही है। उसके बाद किसी का रोल आता है कि उसमें कौन बनेगा, लीगल पर्सन कौन होगा, एक्सटर्नल मेंबर या इंटरनल मेंबर। तो सर अभी आपने रूरल एरिया की बात कही कि आप रूरल एरिया में काफ़ी काम कर रहे हैं, तो आप कैसे देखते हैं रूरल एरिया में, क्या वहाँ पे लोग जो एलसीसी बनी हुई है कहीं जहाँ भी आप काम कर रहे हैं, या ब्लॉक लेवल पे अपॉइंटमेंट है क्या लोगों का वहाँ पे, और क्या हम प्रोफेशनल्स के लिए स्कोप है वहाँ पे कि हम लोग भी अपॉइंट हो सकते हैं एज ए एलसीसी मेंबर, एज ए ब्लॉक लेवल पर्सन, क्योंकि एक जो अपॉर्चुनिटी है इनॉर्मस है। तो आपने कहीं एक्सपीरियंस किया है इन चीज़ों का?
बहुत अच्छा क्वेश्चन पूछा अनिश भाई आपने। जब रूरल एरियाज़ में आप जाते हैं तो एक बात मैं कहना चाहूँगा इसको और जोड़ के कि देखिए दोस्तों, इकलौता बेटा और मामा के घर का लड़का, यानी जो लड़का अगर मामा के घर में पला है तो मैक्सिमम चांसेस है कि वो बिगड़ जाएगा। ये बात शायद यहाँ पे भी हम जितनी इम्पोर्टेंस इस चीज़ को देने लगते हैं कि ऐसे नहीं करना चाहिए, वैसे नहीं करना चाहिए। सभी भाइयों ने कहा जत नार्यस्तु पूज्यन्ते तत्र रमन्ते देवता, लेकिन ऐसा क्यों? आज 50 साल के बाद सरकार को याद आई, अब इस सरकार को भी नहीं याद है, जुडिशरी के थ्रू विशाखा गाइडलाइंस में इस सेक्सुअल हैरेसमेंट जैसे टॉपिक के बारे में एक थॉट प्रोसेस आई। जस्ट आफ्टर 97 50 इयर्स के बाद, और वो भी कुछ चुनिंदा अर्बन लोगों के दिमाग में। उसके 16 साल के बाद 30 सेक्शंस 7 चैप्टर्स की इनेक्टमेंट पास की गई, विच वॉज इन्फोर्स ऑन 9 दिसंबर 2013। सर 63 साल के बाद अगर हमारे देवता की याद आ रही है तो अब आप इससे आप ये अंदाजा लगाइए कि गांव में इसकी दशा और दिशा होगी कैसे। मैं एक बहुत ही दर्दनाक केस अगर कहें तो मैं बता दूं सर, इतना दर्दनाक केस था कि उसके लिए मैं गया भी, वर्क प्लेस पे जो नहीं होना चाहिए था दैट हैपेंड। अनफॉर्चुनेटली आई वाज देयर एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम। जो कुछ गांव का समीकरण होता है वो कुछ बड़ा अजीब सा होता है। शायद अर्बन के लोग जब तक गांव में नहीं रहे होंगे, अगर 5-10 साल की जिंदगी अगर वहां नहीं बिताए हैं तो शायद समझ नहीं पाएंगे। सर वो नहीं हुआ। कम से कम 2.5 महीने इस बात को समझाने में लग गया पुलिस को कि नहीं वास्तव में ये कुछ की चीज है। इंटरनल कमेटी सबकी तो बात ही छोड़ दीजिए। महीने दिन उस लेडीज को ये समझाने में लगा, प्लीज कम अप, जैसे मैडम ने कहा, प्लीज कम अप, एटलीस्ट रीज योर वॉइस, डोंट पुट इन द रिटन बट प्लीज रीज योर वॉइस, कन्वे टू द एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव अथॉरिटीज, और आगे रेगुलेटरीज अथॉरिटी के बाद की तो बात ही और है। तो अनिश जी मैं यही कहना चाहूँगा कि जब आज हमें इस कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन क्लब ऑफ इंडिया, हार्ट ऑफ द सिटी मीन्स दिल्ली, हिंदुस्तान के दिल के पास बैठ के हमें इतनी जद्दोजहद करनी पड़ रही है। सर गांव में बहुत काम करने की ज़रूरत है, और यही कारण है कि मैंने भी एक संस्था बनाई रितु जी से इंस्पायर होके, पिंक एंड ब्लू नहीं सही, अस्मत और अस्तित्व। और उसमें भी कोशिश यही किया कि सिर्फ और सिर्फ उसमें वुमेन मेंबर ही रहेंगी, कोई मेल मेंबर नहीं रहेगा। बिकॉज जब वो एक दर्द बयां करना होता है तो शायद एक, जैसे अभी मैडम ने कहा, बहुत बढ़िया एग्जाम्पल कहा कि ऑफिस में लोग कहते थे यार तुम थोड़ा सा 10 मिनट के लिए बाहर जाओ ना, जरा हम लोग गॉसिप कर लेते हैं, जिसको कि रितु जी नाम देते हैं बॉयज टॉक। खैर देखिए दोस्तों, जितना आप उस पर बात करेंगे ना वॉइस, इसमें थोड़ा सा हमें और क्लोज आने की ज़रूरत है। तो मैं इतना ही कहूँगा, मेरा क्वेश्चन मेरे लिए था अवनीश जी का कि रूरल एरियाज़ में मैंने भी अस्मत और अस्तित्व एक संस्था बनाई जिसको लीड कर रही हैं संगीता सिंह, और वहाँ पे लोगों को एक करके इतना ज़रूर किए हैं कि जिस बस्ती में आदमी जाना नहीं पसंद करता, जिस तरफ लोग अपनी बातों को सोचते हैं कि यार ये कैसे करूं, नाउ दे आर रेडी टू रेज देयर वॉइस। तो ये डिफरेंस थोड़ा सा क्रिएट पिछले 4 सालों में हमने करने की कोशिश की है गांव में।
थैंक यू सो मच सर, यही हमारा विज़न भी है। और हम लोग जब बात करते हैं ट्रेनिंग की, यही हम लोग क्रिएट करते हैं कि स्मॉल सिटी तक जाएं, गांव-गांव तक जाएं। और आपको बता दें कि यहाँ पे जो लोग हमारे पिंक एंड ब्लू के मेंबर्स भी हैं, वो अब गांव-गांव तक काम कर रहे हैं। और जो डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट जो अथॉरिटी है, उनसे रेगुलर बेसिस पे बात करके हम लोग आगे तक काम कर रहे हैं। सो हम लोग फिर से कॉर्पोरेट पे आते हैं। अनुया सोनी मैम हैं जो जनरल काउंसिल हैं। मैम आपका एक्सपीरियंस है, क्योंकि मैंने भी कॉर्पोरेट में काम किया और हम सब ने ये एक्सपीरियंस किया है कि ये जो पॉश का काम है वो एचआर का काम होता है, जनरली माना जाता है। और जो एक्सटर्नल मेंबर होते हैं वो एनजीओ के होते हैं। वो लोग भूल जाते हैं कि कंपनी सेक्रेटरी भी हैं या नहीं है, या फिर लॉयर्स का वहाँ पे काम है या नहीं है। सो बीइंग ए कंपनी सेक्रेटरी और ए लीगल पर्सन, जो हम वहाँ पे जो लोग काम कर रहे हैं एज एन एम्प्लॉई, किस तरीके से मैनेजमेंट को हमें अप्रोच करना चाहिए, और कि एज ए वी आर मोस्ट एलिजिबल पर्सन टू बिकम ए आईसी मेंबर्स, क्योंकि हमारे पास लीगल नॉलेज है, हम लोग इसको हैंडल कर सकते हैं, तो किस तरीके से अप्रोच करना चाहिए। और आपने जो एचआर के पास जो काम होता है, क्योंकि एचआर के मेंबर्स भी यहाँ पे हैं, तो मैं कोई डिफेम नहीं कर रहा हूँ, बट हम लोग बस चूँकि ये सवाल आपसे इसलिए कि आप लीगल भी हैं, इसलिए आपसे ये सवाल है।
सो जब हम पिंक एंड ब्लू की यहाँ पे बात करें तो symbiotic living is the key here. So we talk about legal and HR professionals also getting together and thriving together in this sector. I'll start with an example in my organization. This happened in Korea very, very recently. So there was a salesperson, a female salesperson who had joined the organization, and she was a little bit hesitant in approaching the customers or doctors. I belong to a medical organization. So the boss was advised by the super boss to take that female out for some kind of an interaction so that she loosens up a little bit. So the female's boss takes her out and takes her out for a drinking session. During this situation, what happens is the female and the male boss, they kind of drink together and it becomes a little bit of an inebriated state. After that, the female is taken to under the pretext to say that she is not able to drive well, and neither is he, and they should not be drinking and driving. So they check into a hotel. There are evidences which shows that she's in an inebriated state and all that. Nothing really untowards happened, but the female came back in a week's time crying to the HR to say, I want to lodge a complaint that I was sexually harassed. This wasn't supposed to be that it happened. Now, at that point of time, in Korea, we did not have a legal professional. HR took that case. Again, the Korean laws are a little different. It says you can have an internal committee appointed, which should have the managing director of the company, the HR person of the company, and one person, whoever you think is fit to handle the situation or who knows about the circumstances of the case. The nishkarsh was, or the finally the outcome was that drinking and driving के लिए penalty लगा दी गई उसके ऊपर, क्योंकि वो code of conduct के against था. Female ने resign कर दिया. इस male जो boss था उसको एक coaching and mentoring session दे दिया गया. जब female ने resign कर दिया और उसके बाद जब gossiping बहुत start हो गई, after that and by that time I had come in, I had appointed a person who was a legal professional in that Korean organization. When we realized that case, that was when we intervened. That was the first time it was brought into the legal's attention. The male employee also resigned because office के अंदर बड़ी gossip हो रही थी. Both the female and the male employees resigned. But when the legal professionals came in, they said, sorry, we are not going to accept that resignation. The committee has to sit back again and undergo all the evidence again. What we realized was, again, because we are legal professionals, because we are CS professionals, if I say, we were able to dissect the evidence much better. The female, in an inebriated state, front office के pictures, वो सब देख के पता चला that female was actually sexually harassed. Inside a room in an inebriated state, कोई अपना वीडियो नहीं ले सकता, आपको वो exactly proof नहीं मिलेगा, but आपको बाकी सारी circumstances को देख के decide करना है. The resignation of the male employee was not agreed upon. He was actually terminated. The female employee was invited to come back to the organization. She did not come. That was a separate story. Point that I'm trying to make here is HR is very well qualified to handle investigations or handle complaints because they bring in a value of empathy, right? They bring in a value of sympathy to the person who has suffered. They also are able to manage the other circumstances of the corporate culture, confidentiality, so to say, बहुत ज़्यादा बात ना हो किसी situation के बारे में. It doesn't get uncomfortable for the male and female to worry or to work around. It doesn't get uncomfortable for the female to report into the male member. But when it comes to actually dissecting the situation and actually looking at what evidence is available and going by the law is where us CS and legal professionals come into picture. We do not have the pressure of subscribing ki this person is at such a position, he has been invested in by the organization at such a level. Our only loyalty is towards the law. Our only loyalty is towards the ethics, what is right and what is wrong. And therefore, I feel as legal and CS professionals, we are better equipped to be a member of the IC rather than somebody from HR leading it. Yes, they can lead it because their values of empathy, sympathy, managing the corporate culture is also important. But it is a symbiotic living. We have to encourage both the professions to be there and work together.
सो बेटर कम्बिनेशन ये होगा जहाँ पे HR के लोग भी रहें और लीगल प्रोफेशन के लोग भी रहें. तो ये थोड़ा जो ब्रेक करना है वो इस ट्रेनिंग के थ्रू ही ब्रेक हो सकता है इस मिथ को. तो रंजीत पांडे जी, नेक्स्ट सवाल आपसे है. आप प्रैक्टिसिंग कंपनी सेक्रेटरी भी हैं काफ़ी सालों से. सो एम्प्लॉयर को जब इंटरनल कमेटी में जब एक्सटर्नल मेंबर हमें बनना होगा तो किस तरीके से अप्रोच करना चाहिए और क्या क्वालिटीज़ उनमें ऐसा होना चाहिए कि वो अपॉइंट हो सकें, या वो अपने आप को पहले किस तरीके से तैयार करना चाहिए? क्या ये काफ़ी है कि मैं सिर्फ कंपनी सेक्रेटरी का कोर्स मैंने कर लिया या मैंने सिर्फ LLB का कोर्स कर लिया तो आई एम द मोस्ट एलिजिबल पर्सन? सो 2 सवाल हैं मेरे इसमें.
नहीं, देखिए, जहाँ तक अप्रोच करने की बात है, आपके पास एग्जाम्पल्स हैं, आप लोगों दोनों ने एग्जाम्पल सेट किया है और जितने भी यहाँ लोग बैठे हैं मैं उनको आप ही की तरफ इशारा करना चाहूँगा. जैसे ऋतु ने और आपने ये करके दिखाया कि हाँ क्या अप्रोच होना चाहिए. अप्रोच सामने नज़र आ रहा है. बीइंग से क्वालिफाइड पर्सनल और प्रोफेशनल इज़ नॉट द ओनली थिंग विच यू शुड हैव कि सिर्फ कंपनी सेक्रेटरी हो गए और उसकी वजह से मेरे को अपॉइंट कर दिया जाए कहीं पे. आई थिंक यू शुड बी डेडिकेटेड एंड कमिटेड टूवर्ड्स दिस एंड दैट डेडिकेशन एंड कमिटमेंट शुड बी शोइंग. चाहे वो आपका सोशल प्रोफाइल हो, चाहे वो आपका सोशल मीडिया का हैंडल हो, आप अवेयरनेस क्रिएट करते हुए नज़र आने चाहिए. एंड दैट इज़ द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट एंड क्रूशल थिंग because what happens that we look for the opportunity but we don't work for creating that opportunity. हमारे को वो opportunity create करने के लिए भी सोचना चाहिए. तो I am saying that you say must have read the law in the say company secretary course or maybe otherwise being company secretary हमारे interest होता है law पढ़ने में, हमने पढ़ लिया होगा, but that is not sufficient. I think training is also important. So it should be combination of the whole thing. You should be qualified professional also. You should be trained enough also to do that particular job, do justice to that job. और रही बात connect बनाने की, तो who can be better than the company secretary sitting in the employment? हमारे पास तो दोनों साइड से कनेक्ट है कि हम लोग प्रैक्टिस में इधर बाहर बैठे हैं और एम्प्लॉयमेंट साइड में कंपनी सेक्रेटरी अंदर बैठे हैं और दोनों का जो कॉम्बो होता है वो आपस में एक दूसरे को कनेक्ट कराता रहता है. सो रेफरेंसेस आर रिक्वायर्ड टू बी गिवन. लाइक अनुमेहा जी ने बताया कि हम अंदर बैठे हैं, सो वी नो वी आर बेटर इक्विप्ड टू नो व्हाट इज़ देयर. लाइक हर कंपनी में सर्विस रूल्स ड्राफ्ट होते हैं और इस लॉ के अंदर कई बार सर्विस रूल का ड्राफ्टिंग और उसमें है या पॉलिसी की ड्राफ्टिंग होती है कि हमारा ना पॉश की मैं पॉलिसी बना के रखता हूँ। जब पॉश की पॉलिसी बन रही है कंपनी के अंदर या फिर you are going to draft the service rule for any organization or being company secretary, if it is coming to your table, you can put the name of the company secretary there. That for the internal committee or for this legal professional or company secretary we will be preferring. You should not say that it will be mandatory. You can always say that preferably we will go for the company secretary or advocates or law professionals. So this should be the approach. To conclude, I will say that qualification, training, and your commitment towards the cause, all three should be there.
Avnishi,
Thank you so much.
may I add to this? So I did a little bit of research when I was coming out here, and I realized there are too many resources available and for professionals who really want to work hard on this. And I'm going to quote Nisar sir here. 21 years ago when I was doing my SMTP, he was very active in the North India Regional Council of CS. And he said one thing, as a CS, you have to be jack of all trades and master of at least one. So you have to be the master of the topic that you're passionate about. If this is your passion, please go ahead and pursue it. But again, the resources available, does any one of us know that University Grants Commission has something called a Saksham Initiative? So Saksham Initiative is about women empowerment. It is about gender audits. It is about diversity empowerment. It is also about women study centers. That is something that you can go in, find a place for yourself, figure out if there are scholarships and fellowships available under UGC for you to do research or for you to communicate or contribute to the cause of sexual harassment or women empowerment or whatever it may be. There are a lot of international fellowships available from AAUW or Martha Farrell Foundation, and I also found out something called SVRI, which is a Sexual Violence Research Institute from South Africa. It is underwritten by United Nations, it is underwritten by WHO. These will give you fellowships even sitting here in India, or probably they will call you up to United States, give you that fellowship, you do your research, come back to your country and work on it. The one thing that Mr. Ranjit Pandey also touched upon was about having a social media channel. Has anyone of you seen some videos of this guy, law at your service or something like that? So those blogs, those bloggers, those social media influencers are really creating waves. If you are committed to this cause, go ahead, make your videos, your analysis of interpretations and analysis of situations that you come across in the newspapers, your takes on what situations or what cases have come out. So the more you invest in yourself in this field, the more master of one you become, the more opportunities will keep on opening up for you. As a corporate GC, when I look at a profile of who I want to be an external member, these are the things that I look at. So those are my suggestions. Thanks.
So thank you so much. So जैसे कहा कि इन हाउस का लीगल पर्सन और प्रैक्टिसिंग लीगल पर्सन दोनों कम्प्लीमेंट करते हैं एक दूसरे को, और जैसे अनुमेया जी आपने बोला कि मास्टर ऑफ वन ट्रेड, वही हम लोग काम भी कर रहे हैं। हेलो। सो जब हम लोग ने भी ये एनजीओ की बात सोची तो हमने कहा 10 लॉ पे नहीं काम करते हैं, किसी एक पे काम करते हैं, और जिस पे काम करते हैं तो दिल से काम करते हैं, तो इसीलिए हमने पॉश पे काम करना स्टार्ट किया। सो थैंक यू सो मच। परवेश सर, आपसे नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन ऐसा है कि बड़ी मिसकंसेप्शन है जब लीगल प्रोफेशनल बात करते हैं या फिर एंटरप्रेन्योर होते हैं कि ये लॉ एप्लीकेबल है किस पे, जहाँ 10 लोग काम करते हैं या 10 लोगों से कम काम करते हैं। लोग ऐसा करते हैं, नहीं मेरे यहाँ तो वुमेन है नहीं, और बेशक 10 से ज़्यादा लोग हैं, 10 से ज़्यादा हैं, तो मेरे यहाँ एप्लीकेबल नहीं है। तो इस मिथ को आप किस तरीके से देखते हैं और लीगल प्रोविज़न किस तरीके का है इसमें?
In fact, just one addition in the last, and Meha's thing that you being professionals and I am in-house company secretary of GC. Being an organization, I will always see what value addition you can give me. So if you are adding some value, you are the best person for the organization. So I understand that we professional can add that value. Like we have the knowledge, we have the qualification, we have the training. I was going through your profile that they have touched 20,000 people, they have trained 20,000 people on POSH. So if you are adding value to my institute, to my organization, I will certainly be happy to take you on board and get that value addition in my organization. Coming to myth that this act is applicable on us or not. Before that, Avnish, in fact, I am worried that the POSH or you say that prevention of sexual harassment at workplace, this act, it's a cultural change. In fact, it's not, our society is not accepting it. It's time, I know I can see the faces who are working on this act from long. So we need that change in our mindset. We need that change in our Indian INC, which is difficult. In fact, when KK told that after 50 years, we thought that there should be something and Supreme Court come with binding guidelines of Vishaka guidelines. And then after 10 years, 15 years, then this act came. And today also people are just seeing it as compliance. It's not compliance, it's more than compliance. Being in-house, even I will see that if my compliance are complete, my board report says that there is no case received, no complaints received in the company, or if there is any complaint that has been done away with the solution. But is it the only requirement for this POSH? I think the requirement is much more than that. We touched that topic that dignified, like the women should get a space where they can live dignified work, dignified way. So that is the requirement. That is not coming in a correct way. The only GCs, only professional like you, pardon me if I'm saying like this. So are we looking for just professional opportunity, or are we giving back to the society and creating an environment in the system that women can come forward and work in a way that they treat themselves equivalent to the men? The example given by us that they cannot come forward. So do we have that environment that women can easily come forward and give their grievance, can show their grievance to that? So that is the requirement. In fact, for the big corporates to understand, even that is not applicable to the big corporates. Big corporates are more concerned on compliances. I'm just giving you the example for Indian INC, probably the MNCs are more concerned, but Indian INCs has to change their mindset. Coming to the applicability of this act, if we go on the applicability, yes, this act is applicable to all. Even it's not that it is only applicable to the organization where more than 10 persons are working. It is applicable to all, even the domestic help can take benefit of this act. So I think 10 people requirement is there when you have to form the internal committee. Yes, when you have 10 or more members in the system, you have to constitute the internal committee. But if you have the single member, even you have the domestic help, one person working at your place, if she is sexually harassed, she has all the right to get benefit under this act. Like there is no internal committee certainly because she's the only one working at your place, but she can complain to the local committee, and local committee has to take that action. So this act certainly, like my appeal to all professionals, including me, that we should work together and to bring and create an environment that should help all women to come forward, and with a one rider that we should always feel happy that we are paying back to the society and work together on that aspect.
Thank you so much, sir. So, KK sir, there is one question from you. Apart from becoming the internal member or the external member, there is one more opportunity about becoming a consultant of the POSH or IC. So, what are the qualities you feel that to become the successful consultant under the POSH Act? Although we understand the legal persons are not allowed to appear in the IC proceeding, but still the role of the consultant here is here to advise on the many areas enormous.
ऐसे कहा जाता है कि with consent everything is fair. So your last question, legal professionals are not allowed. But if both parties are agreed to just represent in this proceeding through advocate, yes, they can. The only that party cannot be. So far your opportunities is concerned, अवनीश जी सबसे बड़ी बात है कि जहां तक मैं समझ रहा हूं, इस इनेक्टमेंट के लिए सबसे जो बड़ी जरूरत है वो है जिसके लिए ये बनाया गया है, जिसके लिए डर जताया गया है, जिसके लिए ये लॉ बनाया गया है और जिसके लिए डर जताया गया है, जिसके लिए एक बेहतर सैमोटिक लिविंग की कॉन्सेप्ट को बिल्टअप किया जा रहा है, सबसे पहले उन्हें जागने की जरूरत है। जब तक आप नहीं आगे आओगे, जब तक आप नहीं बोलोगे, तब तक दुनिया की कोई ताकत आपको मदद नहीं कर सकती। मदद करने वाले खड़े होंगे। अवनीश जी का सवाल था कि हाउ व्हाट काइंड ऑफ अपॉर्चुनिटी यू आर सीइंग एज ए प्रोफेशनल्स। पिंक एंड ब्लू ने जिस तरीके से अभी प्रवेश जी ने कहा कि 20,000 प्लस ट्रेनर यू हैव ऑलरेडी मेड एंड यू हैव ऑलरेडी इम्पार्टेड ट्रेनिंग। सर इस 20,000 के लिए पहले 20,000 कंप्लेंट भी तो चाहिए। वर्किंग प्लेस पे कितनी कंप्लेंट्स आ रहे हैं? मैडम हैं बताएंगी। सर बिग कॉर्पोरेट्स में पहले कहते थे कि 12%, ओनली 12% एम्प्लॉयमेंट्स आर इन ऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर। रिसेंटली इन 2021 के एक लेबर लॉ के मैगजीन में देखा कि नाउ 10 to 12% मीन्स ऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर्स की जॉब और कम हो गई है 10%। आप उसमें से इंटरनल कमिटी की रिपोर्ट उठा के देखिए या उनका रिपोर्ट देखिए कंप्लायंस का, कोई कंप्लेन ही नहीं आया। अगर कोई कंप्लेन नहीं आ रही है तो बताइए इस प्रोफेशनल के पास अपॉर्चुनिटी कहां से आएगी? जैसे अवनीश जी ने कहा कि हम किसी सोशल कॉज को काम करने के लिए फर्स्ट वी ट्राई टू कनेक्ट द सेम फ्रॉम द विद द बिजनेस। फ्रेंड्स, देयर आर एम्पल ऑफ अपॉर्चुनिटी इन दिस इनेक्टमेंट। दिस इज 30 section enactment, 8 chapters, and particularly chapter 4 and chapter 5 is the full of opportunity for the professionals. Yes, you can work as an advisor, you can work as a management consultant, you can work as a individual assistants during the proceeding, because in such a case people are not coming very, you can say, fearlessly, not come frequently. Yes, something wrong has already done with me. So in such a situation, even you can work as a personal help. And that personal help, I am not talking about the personal help as a charity. Yes, if you are helping someone, if you are educating someone, if you are guiding someone, yes, you can charge a fees. So there is, because this enactment is a authoritative as a procedural part. As we read the Companies Act, there is a procedure. So section 9 to 11. So complaint and the reconciliation and inquiry on complaints. So in the entire process, yes, be professionals, your POSH trainer can do a very wonderful role. They can guide the management as well as the individuals, victims. And so far government is concerned, friends, yes, at that place also, being a professional, we can put our point of view in a better way and make them understand, yes, this is very much necessary and this is the demand of law, and as per law, this is the procedure, you have to follow it. And in this regard, B would be the means professional, trained person would be the right person, and these are the opportunities which we can avail during the course of our profession.
Thank you so much. So there is one, Anumeha ji, being a woman, you must encounter the uncomfortable situation for yourself or witness the others for being uncomfortable. How do you think we can create a happy and healthy workplace through the implementation of POSH in a true spirit?
So if I have to draw experiences from my own life, when I became a CS and an LLB and I joined the company, young, naive, young mother, I remember there was this very senior professional, he was an advocacy manager or liaison manager, and again, ex-defense forces. And he approached me saying, I'll do a SWOT analysis for you and I'll help you grow in your professional life. And he insisted that, you know, once that sessions are over, he would insist to hold my hand. And something didn't feel right to me. Like I was still very uncomfortable, but also a little naive to see what exactly is happening. I was a trained law professional, and yet I did not realize or I did not identify the symptoms here. The hand-holding went a little further. And then, but I chose to keep quiet. I remember this was 15 years ago. I chose to keep quiet at that point of time because my organization, working for a MNC, even at that point, did not have a policy. Did not, the law, the country did not have a law which was spoken enough about or everybody knew about that I can go to and take a resort. So I chose to keep quiet. Take two, after a few years, again I join an organization as the legal head. This is about again 10, 12 years ago. And I am welcomed by a person very senior in the organization with a hug. In that hug went back on my back like this again and again, again and again. And again I was uncomfortable. But that time I chose that I will not keep quiet about it. I went about asking every female in that organization, have they encountered something like this? And yes, most of them had. The person was senior, the person was very welcoming, very nice, very friendly, and so people just took it as, okay, it must be a friendly gesture. But half of that population said, we do not feel it's a friendly gesture. By that time also, POSH had not come into picture. Vishaka guidelines were, but they were not very well spoken about, even at that time. So I sat down with the managing director and said, listen, I have this responsibility today. I felt it myself, and half of the population of this, the women population of this organization feel it's at this way. The person needs to be coached. The person needs to be told that this gesture is unwelcome. It created a furore, but it was taken care of. Take three, now when the POSH enactment happened and then we were giving trainings to people, multiple incidents have happened even in the corporate environment where we feel the females have been harassed, the females are pursued relentlessly, picture chalogi kya, drinks ke liye aa jao, this is an official party, what is the problem with you? These instances happen. And these instances have to be dealt with. The reason why they are so effectively dealt with today is because of this enactment. Because there is a structure in place. How do we make it successful is our responsibility. That is a responsibility where you as professionals come in. The availability of talent for a corporate person like me, the availability of talent outside for being our trainers, being our consultants, being our bloggers, because हम भी कितनी मर्जी ट्रेनिंग दे देंगे, इंटरनली वो जो हिम्मत है कंप्लेंट करने की वो तभी आती है जब आप सोशल मीडिया पे उन चीज़ों को देखते हो, जब आप इनके ब्लॉग्स पढ़ते हो, जब आप रिपोर्ट्स पढ़ते हो, जब आप जुडिशल सिस्टम को उस डिसीजन लेते हुए देखते हो, तो वो जो हिम्मत है वो आप लोग, वेदर यू आर इंटरनल टू दी स्ट्रक्चर और एक्सटर्नल टू दी स्ट्रक्चर, द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी of making this act successful lies with each of us.
Thank you.
Just want to supplement few things. Very well said, Anumeya. I just want to add two things here. This law is starting with the word prevention. And we should understand that how to reduce the complaint. Complaint should not be increased, it should reduce gradually. And complaint should not arise at all, rather. I would put it in this way, complaint should not arise at all. We need to create, as a professional, we need to create an environment wherein prevention of sexual harassment should be there. And we company secretary, most of us sitting here are company secretaries, are well equipped with this particular thing. You refer section 204 secretarial audit, you refer section 205 function of the company secretary. Both the places, I think your duty, becomes your duty to report. 205 function of the company secretary is talking about compliance of all applicable law. It is not talking about one law, two law, three law. Whether it is generally applicable, specifically applicable, all laws are required to be complied and reported to the board. And board is responsible to create a system under section 234, wherein they are required to create a system wherein everything is complied and system and process is there to report. So that is also there. So board is also responsible, company secretary is duty bound to report and comply. Then comes the role of the secretarial auditor, external expert. 204. Here you need to report the system of process of compliance for generally applicable law. It is up to us. It is not like that it should be specifically mentioned in the MR3. Even if it is not mentioned in MR3, what you are not you supposed to report that policy is not there, committee is not there, so system and process of compliance is weak, and it is not. And why it is weak? You can give the reason that POSH committee has not been, internal committee has been not constituted, or there is no reporting in the annual report, or there is no reporting anywhere, no say report is being prepared at all. So all the workplaces, it is not talking about one workplace, it is talking about all the workplaces. So one company might be having hundreds of workplaces. Every place it is required to be done. So what I am trying to say, that we have the responsibility given by the law, and we can really work toward the prevention of sexual harassment at workplace, make the workplace better and better. Again I am saying.
थैंक यू सो मच. सो अनुमेहा जी ने जैसे आपने बोला कि वही हम सब भी करते हैं कि कैसे लोग बोलें, जब तक हम बोलेंगे नहीं तब तक कंप्लेन नहीं होगा और जीरो कंप्लेन होगा. फिर गवर्नमेंट भी, इम्प्लीमेंटिंग अथॉरिटी भी क्या करेगी. और एक चीज़ और ध्यान में रखने वाली होती है, क्योंकि वी आर रनिंग शॉर्ट ऑफ टाइम, तो मैं और क्वेश्चंस नहीं ले रहा हूँ. कॉन्फिडेंशियलिटी मेंटेन करना बहुत ज़रूरी होता है कि जैसे ही कंप्लेन आती है वो एक्यूज़ तक बात जाए नहीं जाए, मैनेजमेंट तक बात जाए नहीं जाए, पूरी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को पता लग जाता है. और पता लगने के बाद होता यही है कि बड़े सारे लोगों ने इसके लिए सुसाइड किया है, काफ़ी इसके लिए कंपनी से उससे पहले उन्होंने जॉब रिजाइन कर दिया. तो ऐसी बहुत सारी सिचुएशन हुई है, तो हम सबको मेंटेन भी करना चाहिए कॉन्फिडेंशियलिटी क्लॉज. अब वी आर रनिंग शॉर्ट ऑफ टाइम, लेकिन मैं दो क्वेश्चन ज़रूर लूँगा अभी परवेज सर से और अनुमेहा जी से, कि वाइल एडवाइजिंग टू द मैनेजमेंट टू अपॉइंट द एक्सटर्नल मेंबर, आपकी चॉइस क्या होती है, कंपनी सेक्रेटरी, एडवोकेट और फ्रॉम एनजीओ?
See, Avnish, I already touched this topic, so my choice is the person who can add value in my system. That's very fair. So I'm not giving work, or I'm not bringing someone who is just for the namesake. But if specific to your point, company secretary, NGO, and
Advocates.
advocate lawyers. So difficult to answer in these three professions. So yes, depends on the requirement. That is one. So I had in my organization person from NGO as well, right? I had company secretary and lawyer. I will combine both the profession together because I understand, I being company secretary and lawyer, so I understand these professions are complementing each other. So no doubt for the execution part, for the governance part, for the advisory part, for investigation part, certainly company secretary and lawyer will be my preference. But for compliance part, like sometimes you need one NGO person to see that how he can bring his knowledge as a NGO person. So it's a mix of both. But on these four aspects, I will go with the company secretary and advocate. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Anumeha ji.
So in the rules, the POSH rules, it is the responsibility of the employer, and many of us forget it. Also to have empowering workshops for the IC committees and for the employees that combine a little bit of social work. So adolescent committees, working mother committees, laborer committees, those kind of workshops have also to get some exposure with the corporate side. So, and most of the times we forget that phase. We train our IC members, we train our employees, but we forget that aspect. My personal recommendation to my management is always a combination of it. So somebody who knows, who has done some amount of social work, somebody who's passionate about the cause is really important to me. Like I said, like Nisar said, master of one, that passion has to be there. And who is a CS and LLB, because I believe in combination talent. I believe that there's always a possibility of growing and possibility of having a multi-aspect to resolving the same situation if you have all kinds of trainings, if you have exposure to all kinds of things. But for sure, an LLB and a CS, to whoever I appoint in the IC committee, is a must. A social work profile, a profile which engages with women, for empowerment of women, is an added bonus, which I prefer.
Thank you. So this is the beauty of CS profession also, कि जब भी हम बोलते हैं तो सबको लेके साथ ही चलते हैं. इसलिए जब पिंक एंड ब्लू भी हमने डेवलप किया तो हम लोगों ने यही रखा कि चाहे क्लाइंट की जो भी डिमांड हो, चाहे वो बोले कंपनी सेक्रेटरी हम हैं, लॉयर्स हम लोग हैं, HR प्रोफेशनल हमारे पास है, CA हैं हमारे पास हैं, और ये सब भी नहीं चलेगा तो NGO हैं वो भी हमारे पास है. तो हमारे मेंबर्स को लो आप.
The address by Ms. Sonal Jain, like you can see that belongingness of CS profession, like she's company secretary as well. So that always belongingness you will see with the company secretary who have reached to any extent, right? That will always you see that.
थैंक यू सो मच. सो आई एम जस्ट कंक्लूडिंग इट. हम लोगों ने अभी आज डिस्कस किया कि अपॉर्चुनिटी इनॉर्मस है, जो हम लोग बात भी करते थे इन एज ए पिंक एंड ब्लू में भी, और यहाँ भी हमने देखा कि we can become the member as a IC, as an internal committee member or external committee member. We can play a role as a consultant to the employer, complainant or a respondent also, consultant to the management also, and the member in the local committee, block level representative, and finally we are a lifesaver. So thank you so much all the panelists for coming.